suppression, repression, very similar in concept. I'll talk about that in a second, is, in my opinion, the root cause of our stuckness. All of these unconscious habits, which often do involve us squashing, suppressing, repressing, to the fact we're not even aware ourselves of what we're feeling, and then what we're doing in the world is, in my opinion, an action or our best attempt at self-regulation, addictions included, or any sort of, thing that we feel compelled, compulsive behavior, and it expands, into very, I think for some of us, validated, societally validated, when we go down the path of work addiction, ways of being, again, that in my opinion are our attempts at self-regulation. So what is even repression, suppression means, and why am I kind of defining this as the root? The act of suppression is the experience of having an emotion, which is a sensation that happens in my body. Emotions are actually quite important. They are our interface between ourselves and this ever-changing, very complex environment around us, right? There are information on how am I experiencing this moment? Am I safe? Am I having a need? What do I need to do to navigate this and make sure that I'm keeping myself safe and keeping my needs met? So emotions happen inside of our body. So what suppression looks like is us registering an emotion, and say if in childhood, every time more consistently than not, when we felt sad, or maybe any emotion it was, for some of us, it's a particular emotion. For others, it's any emotional expression in our home. If we didn't have the safe space to say, hey, mom, dad, caregiver, whomever, I'm sad, and have someone to just hold space for our sadness, comfort us in our sadness, help us tolerate, right, feeling sad. If we were maybe shamed, told not to be sad, told not to be dramatic, told that sadness is weakness, told many different messages, or maybe we just didn't have an adult available to be present to our sadness, what might begin to happen over time as I register sadness, as life makes me sad, as it will naturally do, I might suppress it, which means I might notice I'm feeling sad, but almost before I share with someone that I'm sad, or show with someone that I'm sad, I have all of these reasons why to not show sadness. And again, oftentimes those reasons begin in childhood. Reality of it is the sadness doesn't go anywhere. All of the emotions. And again, what becomes more problematic is what we're doing now is we're trying not to express the sadness, and how are we trying to regulate ourselves, even though we're having this emotional experience. Repression is almost one level below suppression, to the extent that we don't even know we're feeling sad in that moment at all. And again, for very similar reasons in childhood, chances are we didn't have the space, and our protection meant at this point not to even allow ourselves to have that conscious moment of, I'm sad and I'm not going to show it. We don't even know we're sad. And for me, that very much described what I kind of devolved into, not having that supportive parent, right? I showed less and less to them what I was feeling, probably feeling it myself. And then over time, the stress of that overwhelming feeling without support resulted in me repressing it. I became, and people have described me as being very aloof. Nothing bothers Nicole. She's always just like, fine, right? In reality, I might have even agreed, because I was so disconnected from, similar to suppression, all of the feelings that we're having and we're not even allowing in our awareness are still there. Again, in my opinion, one of the root causes then for whatever behavior, dysfunctional habit or pattern it is, whether it's between us and how we're treating ourselves, maybe what we're ingesting, and or within our relationship. So as far as I see it, that is the root. The more we become conscious of what we're not living in expression of what doesn't feel safe, of where we don't feel safe, we can begin to, I think, unpack some of what's driving us in those stuck patterns.
This is Lynn Fraser with the Radical Recovery Summit, airing January 13th to 22nd, 2023. Please go to radicalrecoverysummit.com to view the clips and the interviews.